Austin-Bergstrom International Airport opened in May 1999 on the grounds of a decommissioned Air Force base. The Barbara Jordan Terminal was designed for 18 gates and projected to serve roughly 9 million passengers a year at maturity. By 2023, it was processing over 22 million. Airport planners had built a forecast through 2028. The airport hit those numbers in 2022, 5 years ahead of schedule. The terminal built for one capacity level was running at more than double it. Security lines stretched outside the building on peak days. Gates designed for narrow-body regional jets were handling international wide-body operations to London, Frankfurt, and Amsterdam. In January 2026, the airport committed more than $5 billion to a multi-phase expansion program, adding 32 gates and reshaping every part of the facility from the runway to the curb. Construction runs until approximately 2030. This is the story of how an airport designed for a mid-sized city found itself serving a global one, and what that requires to fix. Austin-Bergstrom's origins are different from most major American airports. It did not replace an aging facility through a planned civic project. It repurposed a military installation when Bergstrom Air Force Base closed under the 1993 Federal Base Realignment and Closure process. The city of Austin acquired the site and converted it into a commercial airport, opening to the public in 1999 with a single terminal and one runway measuring 12,250 feet. The Barbara Jordan Terminal opened with 24 contact gates. It was a functional, compact facility sized for the Austin of the late 1990s, a mid-sized state capital with a growing technology sector and a university driving regional air demand. What planners did not account for was the pace at which Austin itself would change. Between 2010 and 2020, Austin ranked among the fastest-growing large cities in the United States by population. Apple expanded its campus. Tesla relocated its headquarters from California. Oracle followed. Samsung's semiconductor operations became one of the largest manufacturing investments in state history. Each corporate relocation carried the same consequence for the airport: more business travel, more direct routes, and increasing demand for international connectivity without connections. By 2022, the Federal Aviation Administration reclassified Austin-Bergstrom from a medium hub to a large hub, a designation reflecting annual enplanements exceeding 1% of total national passenger volume. The airport achieved that status as passenger growth continued accelerating beyond the trajectory its infrastructure was built to support. In 2023, Austin-Bergstrom recorded 22,095,877 total passengers, growth of roughly 28% from 2019, which had itself been a record year. Every infrastructure projection the airport's 2040 master plan had produced was now obsolete. The facility was not approaching capacity, it had already exceeded it.
The growth at Austin-Bergstrom has not been evenly distributed across carriers. It has produced a specific competitive dynamic that continues shifting with each month of new data. Southwest Airlines opened its first Austin service in 1993 and has been the dominant carrier for most of the airport's history. In 2025, Southwest carried 8,904,277 passengers through Austin-Bergstrom, representing 41% of all traffic. That share is large, but declining relative to where it stood 5 years ago. Delta Airlines established Austin as a focus city in 2018 and has since sustained an aggressive expansion of routes and frequency. Delta carried 3,819,112 passengers in 2025, 17.7% of total traffic, and an increase of 15% year-over-year. In January 2026, Delta's passenger count at Austin was up 28.8% compared to January 2025. American Airlines, which had historically been the second largest carrier at the airport, moved in the opposite direction. Through the first 10 months of 2025, American carried 19.4% fewer passengers at Austin-Bergstrom than in the same period a year earlier. By mid-2025, Delta had overtaken American to become the second largest airline at the airport by passenger volume. Both Southwest and Delta are now making long-term physical commitments. Delta opened a permanent flight attendant base at Austin in October 2025. Southwest announced in late 2025 that it would open a crew base in March 2026, staffed with more than 2,000 flight attendants and pilots. In January 2026, the airport confirmed gate allocations for its new Concourse B. Southwest will hold 18 total gates, Delta 15, American 9, United 5, and Alaska 1. An additional 11 gates will be available to other domestic and foreign carriers. Those allocations reflect the competitive landscape as it currently exists, but market share at Austin-Bergstrom is moving faster than the infrastructure being built to serve it. The Journey with AUS expansion program is organized around the airport's 2040 master plan. Its total anticipated cost grew from an original estimate of $4 billion to more than $5 billion as the scope expanded from 20 additional gates to 32. The program is financed through federal grants, airport revenue bonds, airline fees, and passenger facility charges. No local taxpayer funds from Austin's general budget are involved. Several near-term components are already complete or actively under construction. The International Arrivals Improvements Project finished ahead of schedule in June 2025, adding over 20,000 square feet to the arrivals area and expanding U.S. Customs and Border Protection processing capacity. The outbound baggage handling system became operational in December 2025, processing checked luggage across 1.5 miles of conveyor belts at 4,000 bags per hour. The West Infill project added more than 75,000 square feet to the Barber Jordan terminal and expanded TSA Checkpoint 3 from 2 screening lanes to as many as 8, opening to travelers in February 2026. The Yellow Garage broke ground in February 2025 and will deliver approximately 7,000 parking spaces across 2 phases, completing in 2026 and 2027. The most significant component, the new Concourse B, remains in pre-design. Austin City Council has authorized more than $1 billion for pre-construction and construction services. The concourse will add 26 gates in a midfield facility connected to the existing terminal by an underground pedestrian tunnel. Construction is expected to begin in 2026 with completion around 2030. The expansion also required resolving a legal dispute with Lone Star Airport Holdings, the private operator of the airport's south terminal. Lone Star had signed a 40-year lease in 2016 and invested approximately $50 million in operations. When the airport sought to terminate that lease to clear the footprint needed for expansion, a court sided with Lone Star. The airport settled in 2023 by paying $88 million to break the agreement. What the full program does not address within its current scope is the constraint that governs Austin-Bergstrom's long-term ceiling. The airport operates from a single runway complex. Adding gates and terminal square footage improves the passenger experience inside the building. It does not increase the number of aircraft movements the airfield can support per hour. Airport officials have identified runway expansion in the broader 2040 master plan, but no specific funding or construction timeline has been established. Until one exists, the gate expansion being built through 2030 will eventually encounter a ceiling set not by terminal size, but by airfield capacity.
The gap between current demand and infrastructure under construction is already visible in the airport's monthly data. October 2025 was the busiest month in Austin-Bergstrom's history, 2,086,037 total passengers, an 8.92% increase over October 2024. The single busiest day on record occurred on October 20, 2025, when 45,048 departing passengers cleared TSA screening following the Formula One United States Grand Prix at Circuit of the Americas. 9 of the 10 busiest individual days in AUS history have fallen in October, with additional demand concentrated during SXSW in March, Austin City Limits Music Festival in the same month as Formula One, and the standard peaks at Thanksgiving and spring break. Between those events, the airport operates at levels that are manageable. During them, the constrained security capacity, limited gate count, and single-level curb infrastructure compress the passenger experience significantly. The expanded TSA checkpoint from the West Infill project, now open, reduces the security bottleneck that was most visible during peak periods. The new baggage system reduces flight delays caused by late bag loading. The concourse expansion, when complete, distributes the gate load across a larger footprint. None of that construction is finished. The airport, handling more than 21 million passengers annually, is doing so in a terminal designed for substantially lower volumes, with incremental improvements layered over a facility that was not built for what it is now being asked to do. Austin-Bergstrom's current position is the product of a growth rate that consistently exceeded the forecasts built to guide investment decisions. The airport opened in 1999 for a city whose trajectory over the following 2 decades would place it among the most commercially significant metros in the country. The infrastructure was built for the Austin that existed in 1999. It was not built for the one that exists today. The $5 billion program now underway is structured to close that gap. 32 new gates, a new concourse, an expanded terminal hall, a modern baggage system, additional security capacity. The program is adequately funded and proceeding on a timeline that reflects both the urgency of current demand and the complexity of building inside an operating airport. Southwest carries 41% of passengers and is opening a crew base of over 2,000 employees. Delta carries 17.7% and grew 15% year over year. British Airways, Lufthansa, and KLM fly there. The airport that opened for a mid-sized capital city now serves a different kind of city entirely. What the expansion cannot resolve within its current scope is the Airfield constraint that will eventually set the outer limit on daily operations. The terminal expansion increases capacity on the ground. The runway configuration determines what can operate above it. Those are 2 separate problems, and only one of them is being actively funded. Austin-Bergstrom is building as fast as it is permitted to build, with a budget larger than any it has previously committed, toward a completion date still 5 years away. The city it serves is not slowing down in the meantime.